So Labour are saying that the fight back begins in Tower Hamlets against you in June. What does it say about the Labour Party in June 2015 that the fight back, quote unquote, begins against the left-wing anti-austerity Muslim woman?
Well, it says a great deal about the Labour Party. They seem to be against education maintenance award, which I wish to continue. They seem to be against freezing council tax, which I wish to continue. Building social affordable homes in this borough, which I wish to continue. Tackling bedroom tax, which I wish to continue. The university bursaries that we have, which I wish to continue, including that addressing the complex health needs that people with disabilities have, and to ensure that they have bespoke housing for them. In addition to that, the voice of women needs to be heard across this borough, particularly in light in the last 5 years, the austerity cuts have affected women more than men. In addition to that, housing benefit, which we have the housing benefit cap, meant that there was an increase of homeless families, and the majority of homeless families affected women. Again, women at the core of some of my policies, families and women. So if they're against all these policies of someone of my background, Muslim woman, working mum, someone who places local values and local needs at the core of my policies, then I'm not really sure what the Labour Party really stands for.
Labour have just faced Wipeout in Scotland. What was once the heartland of the British Labour Party is now a backwater. To what extent do you think that the lessons we can take from Scotland could be applied to BME voters, black and brown voters here in England and Wales? Because it seems to me that just like with Scottish votes for decades, that Labour is now taking for granted the votes of working class, black and brown people across this country. To what extent then do you think that what's happened in Scotland could be repeated, not just in places like Bradford and Tower Hamlets, but across BME communities? Because this is an ever larger proportion of the British electorate.
About 2 years ago, when we were discussing about the general election, I do speak to Labour Party members and people who work in this borough, and I actually predicted that the Tories would probably get through, even with the majority. And the reason why I predicted that is the fact that more and more so Labour Party has taken its voters for granted. So the votes from black people, minority communities and working people for the Labour Party have been taken for granted. And that's when you take something for granted, you lose its value. Now, what's happened in Tower Hamlets has resonated all around this country, whether the Labour Party or whether the right-wing media like it or not. Whatever is happening in this borough resonates around the country, and that sense of feeling lost from Labour values affects people, not just in Tower Hamlets, not just in Kent and Birmingham, it affects people all over nationally. And I think the Labour Party must realise that in order to move on. They cannot move on until they realise that they have lost their core votes, and the reason for that is they have taken it for granted for too long.
You're a Muslim woman, you're coming from a working class background. It's pretty fair to say there's not enough people like you in politics. What would you say to young Bengali women, Pakistani women, Muslim women, Sikh women who want to change things, who want to change the world for the better?
First and foremost, to all women, regardless of their background, do not be afraid. I'm the only woman, Muslim woman, facing this challenge against the party, a political party, and as a woman, not from a political party, but as an independent woman, if I can take that courage, other women will be able to do so. We say that politics is often a dirty game. Should that prevent a woman from entering politics? It shouldn't. And currently the current government and other political parties need to stop paying lip service, but actually do the work of ensuring women are best represented in public life, in governance and in decision making.
So John Biggs, the Labour candidate for the mayoralty of Tower Hamlets, I think it's fair to say is comfortable with Muslim women, as is the case with much of the Labour Party, being the foot soldiers of campaigns. I'm sure you were possibly a foot soldier once upon a time. Most people involved in politics were. To what extent do they change their tune when foot soldiers wish to become leaders?
That's a very interesting question, since I did belong to the Labour Party. As a foot soldier, I am my own woman, and I see myself having my own mind, my own intelligence and my choices. I chose to stand against the Labour Party when they took the decision to deselect Lutfur Rahman, because I believe that was an unjust and undemocratic reason. The foot soldier issue is a big issue. It does call into question as to what kind of political apparatus the Labour Party has. Do they use people, or do they use it for their advantage? How do they do it? Look at the way Lutfur Rahman has been dealt with and has been treated. He has his issues, I have my own way of going forward. And my way of going forward, I'm no longer a foot soldier. I am a leader. I have been a leader for a long time in delivering housing in this borough. I've been the Cabinet Member for Regeneration and Housing for 5 years. It says a great deal about my track record and my commitment to this borough.
So you declared your candidacy at a meeting last month. Selma Yaqub was kind enough to speak at that meeting amongst a number of other orators. She was one of the best as ever.
Absolutely.
Fantastic, inspiring woman. And she said that there's a class war that's being waged, not just here in Tower Hamlets, not just in Birmingham, not just in Bradford, across the country. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think there's a huge divide between the rich and the poor. We need to make sure that we are able to sustain ourselves and all the people in British society. However, why did it take a British Muslim woman to say that loudly? And why isn't the Labour Party actually saying the things that she said, Selma Yaqub, on the stage? Why is it that Selma Yaqub had the courage to speak like that? Perhaps if the Labour Party could understand those elements, maybe they may not have just lost the general election.
Rabina Khan, Doinabad.
Oh, great!
Thanks for joining us. It's been a really fantastic interview. Best of luck for
Thank you
the
for having
election
me.
too.
Thank you.